was December 17th is when we did the final. But we did have stop work orders in there because that concrete had to cure for 28 days prior to some other stuff.
Okay, so in other words, though, they still kinda owe us $6,500 if we get 13 days, 500 a
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Okay.
Which pretty much covers what the engineer charges for being here that time.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Well, I don't see why we cut them any slack. I mean, this contract's contract.
do you want me to tell you what the project engineer told me on that, or no, the project foreman?
Yes,
Yeah.
we want to.
He said contracts are for bad contractors. He said, but since they're a good contractor, they shouldn't have to abide by it.
Oh,
Don't they kind of sleep together, those two? I mean, they do a lot of projects together.
yeah.
Who?
LHC and Marty.
Morris and Mary.
No,
They don't?
this is only about their second or third time. But that was coming, I spoke wrong, that didn't come from the project engineer, that came from Jay, the representative from LHC. He said that to me.
Oh,
The engineering firm wants us to hold to the contract 100%. They've been very good about going through and making sure everything is to the contract.
so that would be their recommendation.
Their recommendation was to stay with it. That's, they don't recommend backing down on that.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, so stick with the lost days. Stick with having LHC just do the pipe painting. Okay, and then the final would be is approval of what we really need to do then is, this is borrower's disbursement request certificate number 3. This will be water project approval payment number 3. This is the intercap loan, and that will be for $9,820.75. And that check will go to Morrison Maryland for engineering.
Okay, you need a motion for
We need a
that?
motion on that.
I'll make the motion. You have it. You got it written.
Got it.
Good.
This is just the payment.
This is the payment.
This is just the
Payment
payment.
number 3,
Payment number 3.
Yeah.
okay,
Motion made and seconded.
second.
Any council discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Do you feel okay about it? Before we,
Rely on you guys. That's how you do
Yeah,
that.
well,
This one is not, the other things are the ones we're gonna have to, now I can go, what I'm gonna do is, with our conversation here, I'm gonna go back to the engineering firm, tell them what came out of tonight. I'll call Shear and Associates and just tell them we don't wanna do a deal with them, because they did contact me separately. But we just need to stay with our contractor. And then, well, all that paperwork will come back at the next meeting.
Is that then just council recommendation rather than a motion? How to proceed?
Well, let's go ahead and just do it in a motion.
Okay.
So let's have a motion to, what we talked about. Proceed with charging the loss of days. Proceed with having LHC paint the pipe.
the overflow pipe.
Sorry, it's in a meeting playback.
So, well, we didn't finish our last motion here, folks. We've got a,
Yeah, we voted on the
We
payment.
voted on the
Yeah.
payment.
yeah.
So now this motion needs to be for the loss of days. Needs to be for the painting of the pipe.
Right, LHC paints the pipe.
LHC paints the pipe.
And
And
then withholding.
withholding the engineering fees.
Okay,
Right.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Any council discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Okay. Okay, next we're gonna move into new business, which will be the Banditos weekend, February 19th to the 21st. This will be to waive the open container on Main
In your
Street and
packet
Arlee. and
Is
allow
what you
fire
did
pit.
what the council did last year. And I rewrote it to encompass the new year, change the dates.
Yeah.
And then I added the event insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, so the waiver will be in effect from Friday, February 19th, with a typo, from 7 p.m. until 2 a.m. Saturday, February 20th, and from 3 p.m. Saturday until 2 a.m. Sunday, February 21st, 2016. The waiver will apply to the sidewalk from the side entrance of the Montana Bar on our Lee Street around the corner west on Main Street to include the sidewalk between the Montana Bar and Fergie's Pub, and the 2 parking spaces on the south side of Main Street in front of the Montana Bar and the south side of Main Street in front of Fergie's Pub. These areas will include a buddy bar and fire pits. The fire pits will be burning on Friday and Saturday evening. No glass will be allowed on the street, plastic cups and cans only. Bar owners are expected to help clean up the outside areas at closing each day, and bar owners will provide event insurance for $1 million, naming the town of Hot Springs as additional insured. And then Chad mentioned in his report that the police may choose to actually close the street. They did that last year, I believe.
And the reason for that is just like now is it gets a little bit slick out there, and if it's a big turnout, you get lots and lots of them out in the street. They got the buddy bar, the fire pit, and they're out, and then cars are, it's a tourist attraction. Then you get people driving up and down the street wanting to see them. Well, it starts getting to be that interaction, like Chad says, people driving down the street saying stuff out their windows and stuff. Sometimes it's just nicer to block it, go ahead and close it, and let them mingle and do their thing, and they move the fire pit out a little further and stuff, so it's not pushed up against the curb and some of that. Karen, did you have?
I have a question on the $1 million insurance. Is that what we did last year?
Yes, it is.
That's required by our insurance company.
As required, but
Yes, you did it last year.
I know what we
Yeah.
did last year, I just didn't remember it being
Oh.
$1 million, so I'm just, now there's the 2 bars, is this $1 million each?
No, just for the event.
It's for the event, but that's between you and your insurance agents. I don't know how they do that. The town needs to be
The town-
covered as an additional insured.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna come down to, well, I slipped in front of Fergie's, or I slipped in front of the Montana Bar, and then it's gonna go, well, that wasn't ours. And we're still gonna be
We just need to
on
be
the line
named
for $1 million
by our
bucks.
insurance company is just required $1 million, so both bars take 2 different things, or however that works.
If you can get it together and save money, I don't
I
know,
don't understand
how
why my
that
age
works,
just
honestly.
requires that for us.
Okay, so you just need a $1 million rider for the event, and you don't care how it's paid for.
No, as long as it is paid for.
Okay.
That's,
So, okay, thank you.
and that's something I wanted to bring up. I think we have to have in here the paid for waiver before that event starts.
Right.
We gave it to you
You
before.
did.
Well, I'm not talking
It
about
it wasn't,
I-
it was
I-
another
It was
event
another
that-
event.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That was
Yeah, no, you
approved
were-
with
you
the
were fine
promise
last
it would
year.
show up, and it never materialized.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if, come, Friday morning, or at, 7 PM Friday evening, and they don't have it, can't do it. And then there's one other thing in here that I think we need to rewrite,
Okay,
where it says bar owners are expected. I think bar owners must clean
Okay.
up. Because it's not our responsibility, and, okay, well, we kinda did, I don't think that's my humble opinion.
Joe?
I agree, no problem.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I
It
talked
wasn't
to,
an issue before.
No.
Well, that's probably
it's
fine.
never
I
been an
mean-
issue. It's never been an issue, you guys have always been on
Yeah.
top of it.
Just to,
It's just a matter
so
of
Julie,
getting.
when you get mine, I talked to my insurance company today, he's gonna fax that over to you, can you just let me know, so the ball didn't get lost?
great.
Yeah, no, we have never had a problem with that weekend.
Yeah.
We've never had a problem with either one of you. It's just that in trying to be thorough, and getting everything committed to paper. Unfortunately, because somebody takes advantage of a situation, everybody now has gotta, you know,
Yeah,
Basically, we just do what we did before and we're covered.
should be fine.
there you go.
The only thing I stressed of last year, and it wasn't an issue out of us, it's an issue out of the bikers themselves, and it's glass coffee cups, glass pints. And so the guy contacted me, tried to get hold of you, Karen, and I just stressed to them and said, you absolutely cannot have glass out on the street. He says, what's the ramifications? It says, they'll pull the variance on us if we don't get this straightened out. So he was gonna be pretty thorough about communicating that to his group so that we don't. Last year I tried to police it, and they just got pissy with me, really nasty pissy, which is not fun with the bikers.
Also, so the council knows, kind of the first year, they have contacted both City Hall, this office, and they contacted Chad separately too and visited about what's expected of them, what do they need, what needs to happen. So they're really trying to work too. It's not, they're not coming here just to be honored. I mean, they're actually reaching out and saying, hey, what do we need to do when we come? You know, what do we need to take care of? And they did that 2 weeks ago. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
on top of it.
so I think that it's always been a good event.
They don't wanna have problems, you know, nobody wants to have problems. I think everybody just wants to make sure that we're all doing the right thing.
Okay,
And I just wanna reiterate, you know, we're not I'm not, in my proposal here, singling you guys out. It's that any other events we have to follow these lines. I mean, maybe somebody will ask for something who has never, you know, done what you've done or need a variance and so here it is. This is what you must do.
I don't wanna be, but the word that bothered me about it wasn't that, you had to help, it was the word help. I don't know, to me, that sounds like somebody else is doing it and you just have
Actually,
to help them.
the way it's actually written, bar owners are expected to clean up the outside
That's
areas they
perfect.
close them
Okay.
each day.
Okay, that's perfect. It sounds onerous, so it should be.
do I have a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve the open container waiver. Is there any council discussion on this? No council discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to appointments.
Thank you.
Couple things, I don't know if I didn't get a chance to talk to Mary or Bob or some other people. We had some council people that, and Dick also put in applications to be on the planning board, and I guess I should have got back to you guys quicker and talked to you a little bit about it, is the planning board advises the council what to do, so we can't really have the council seated on the planning board to advise themselves. So that's why I have my appointments here, but, and if anyone has any questions or anything, so.
Don't you normally have a
We
member
do
of the
have
council?
a council liaison
Yeah.
to sit on that, and then if the council members, of course, wanna be involved in it, that's great, with the caution of if three of you are together
You got
at a meeting, you are a meeting, so that's the only caution in that, if three of you are together, at something like that, so,
Plan your activities, communicate.
yeah.
It's not that you can't be there, it's just that if three of you say, yes, we're going to that meeting because it's important, it just needs to be posted that three of you are going to be, or three or four or whatever, a quorum will be present at that meeting. It's not that you can't be.
It's just that we need to make it open to the public, so. Planning board will be Contos, Stelter, Clark, McHenry. And I've actually spoken with the county. The county puts a person on our planning board, and Deanna Peters has asked to fill that role. She's been there before, and I actually spoke to the chairman of the board for the county to approve that. And he said actually she was the only one that applied, so they would. We had council representative, and just for now, I'd like to appoint Councilman Adams to sit on the planning board. He kinda started some stuff, so we'll let him take the heat. Board of Adjustments. Flesh,
He just had surgery today.
he'll make it.
Okay.
He'll be okay. Stafford, Contos, and Odekirk. Library, actually, that's gonna be a county person, and they're taking care of that. They had a couple applicants, and the county was, they'll do that. The judge appointment is Joe Eisenbrecht. He's been our judge for over 4 years now. He's Plains's judge. The first 4 years, we had a different judge who came out of Thompson Falls. His clerk never came with him. The paperwork was always a nightmare. Julie had to do half his paperwork for him. Joe Eisenbrecht comes with his own clerk. They do everything. Town doesn't touch any of that. They take care of all of it for us. It's been really a nice setup, so. Those are the appointments.
He just gets, the judge just gets reappointed every 4 years, kind of.
Unless he doesn't want to, or someone else applies, or being a judge, you have to have some qualifications for judge.
But his contract is a 4-year contract.
Is it? Yeah, that's by MCA too, I
Yeah.
believe. It has to be for 4 years.
Do you want?
Do I have a motion to approve?
I move we approve.
Have a second?
Second?
Do we have any council discussion? Any questions?
So when we're looking at this, is there somebody that's like, or do they, amongst themselves decide, is there like a head, or is it just pretty much a
No,
5-member board?
They elect a head to run the meetings. So they all still have a vote, they all still, and Deanna Peters was the head of it. She has been the president of it. Of course, the president then calls for the meeting, to have a meeting, and then they preside over the meeting, and then they have a vote just same as everyone else. Then the Board of Adjustments meets if there's any zoning waivers or anything like that that comes into play.
I think the Board of Adjustments has met, what, maybe twice in the last 3-4 years, if that.
You never know, it could start
Yeah.
meeting every week. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there any communications or public comment on non-agenda items?
Yeah, I feel constrained to pass this comment along because of the number of households that, you know, in the close neighborhood of, especially in residential A on 2nd Avenue South. This person also included some photos of what they're referring to. There was numerous people asking what happened here and how did that get here, and that doesn't look like, you know, what is supposed to happen in residential A where there are trailers, but they're grandfathered in on a lot of the trailers. I mean, there's trailers and then there's trailers. There's trailers that kind of fit into the landscape, like Leo King's old trailer, the trailer that I think Bonnie and Elton lived in, a trailer. But this one is kind of new, and I talked to Jerry. He showed pictures of what the projected was. But anyway, I think the question is, well, you know, how did it get here, and is there some contracts or scheduling or checking in to like see that things go according to, well, I know that the ordinance might be subject to change, or, you know, depending on the planning board and the Board of Adjustments. And then the other property referred to in this, it's signed a concerned citizen, is mobile home and residential B, commercial zoning on A Street and First Avenue North. Okay, so there have been some people even in the south side of town that wondered, what's going on with that? It's been sitting there for a long time and some people call it an eyesore. And so I guess I got some information from the zoning Commissioner Jerry Contos that there is no conditions on buildings or trailers in commercial property, but there is in the, I guess it's ordinance 17-20 section 01, there are some constraints on it. And so in the interest of what Randy said, that everything should be addressed, equally, and if they're looking at this one over here, they should be looking at that one over there. So, I'm seconding that, and just saying that there was a lot of concern about it. And one of the items in the ordinance says that the trailer needs to be 18 feet wide, and that's not including an add-on porch. So I guess what the projected thing is with this trailer in residential A is that there's a picture of what it's going to look like when there's new siding, new roofing, and the add-ons. And but the way the ordinance reads is that it's supposed to be already 18 feet wide without a porch, which I would interpret might be interpreted as an add-on. And then what are the ways to ensure that this happens, and because I think it's happened before that people represent things that they're going to do and what it's going to look like and what all they're going to do, but then where's the follow-up? And so there are people just bringing this to me, so I'm passing it on.
Okay. I think a lot of that stuff needs to be looked into, and a lot of that stuff, but also I don't think we can come heavy-handed. Maybe we should talk to some of those owners and see what they're going to do. The trailer in residential B, that's where trailers go, is maybe talk to her to go ahead and get it skirted, and then get started on it, instead of having it sit there about 2 months. So, we need to work with these people and help bring those in, because every one of those is another person paying money to the town, another person that's buying water, they're buying sewer. And when I talk about the town costs X to run, it doesn't matter if the town has 1,000 residents or the 600 we have. It doesn't change the police force, it doesn't change the public works, it doesn't change Julie or Jerry, it doesn't cost us a nickel more, but we have 300 or 400 more people paying for it. We have another 100 users on the water system. It makes it all, doesn't cost us anymore. So I'm just saying we just need to look at it and work with these people somehow.
I'm for it and everything, and but I also want to comment on, because there's been comment, all along in the early 2000s, there was the Horizons program, and there was a lot of public comment taken on what people thought would be good for our community, and growth was always mentioned. And so there are costs to more people being in the town that might not be city council costs or might not relate to city government per se, but kind of the question here is cart before the horse kind of thing. What are they going to do? I'm not totally resigned to the prospect that this is going to just be a retirement town. There's people trying to raise kids here. So then, what is it going to cost our schools? Are there going to be special needs children? There's going to be cost, and also Sanders County being the poorest county, Hot Springs being the poorest town. If there aren't ways of making a living here, then it's going to go on to possibly to the county, and there might be law enforcement, and there might be social services costs. So I think that things need to happen, in tandem. Jobs and growth. Growth is, of course, it's good, but not if it's top-heavy growth with no foundation for people to actually come stay and build for a future.
Could I say something on that? In residential A, is that right, the south side,
Right.
it is zoned no trailers, is that correct? But yet, somebody.
No new trailers.
No
If
new,
if they're already here.
right, okay, I
is
hear
that-
you. Okay, so we have no new trailers coming in.
Right.
How did this one get there?
He just moved in.
So what are the consequences?
Well, that's a good question, then.
There,
It's a zoning violation.
Yeah.
so it's a civil matter, so we have to sue him. The
Okay.
town has to sue him.
And is the town intend to do something, or are you just gonna?
Is
let
that,
it
I just have a question, is that property owner here at this meeting?
Now, the property owner lives in Maine.
Right, but has that property owner given notice that his
We
property is
can't, we
gonna
can't
be
talk, we
discussed here?
can't talk about his property. She can bring this
This
to
is
us,
a comment period, right?
right, but we
Oh.
cannot talk about his property as a council.
Okay, we
Is
can
that-
talk about a trailer
A trailer.
being moved in. A trailer was moved in on a property without any authority. So then the town's recourse would be to sue whoever would be to do that. Is that correct? Is that town policy to do that?
No.
Is that the
So
only
what-
option?
So what,
Back to, I guess what I said about making good neighbors and wanting people to come here and live and I guess, and I'm just gonna give you my take on Class A residential, is I cannot move a brand-new trailer house into Class A residential, brand new, bought off the lot, set it up, put my white picket fence up, paint my blue door, have my little flowers in the yard, and make it the showpiece of Hot Springs. I can't do that. But I can take a bunch of my old tires up there, throw on the ground, pour concrete in them, go down and get some old wood pallets and start tearing them apart and piece me a house together with old windows, old doors. I can go get the lumber yard and buy every color of siding there is and stick on it. I can put every color of roofing on it. That's okay. That's my problem with our ordinances, is that's okay, but you can't put a show house there.
okay,
But I'm just saying, is that's our ordinances, and I guess that's my biggest heartache with the ordinance. I want the town to look nice, and yes, our ordinances say they have to be 18 foot wide, they have to be on a foundation, they have to be, we can go on and on and on. Do we go after that guy and tell him, nope, you can't have your trailer there, get out, we don't want you moving to Hot Springs?
but
I mean, but at what point do people have rights? I mean, what point do we say that, okay, I want every house on the south side of town to have a white picket fence and a blue door?
that's.
But I mean,
That's not the point. The point is we have zoning that requires this. I hear what you're saying and I don't disagree. But it is against the zoning, so how many, to what extent can you go against the zoning and still
So
get?
would this be where your board of adjustment meets and like is?
if they put in,
evaluates
for a variance and stuff,
Yeah.
but we can go, if we wanna talk ordinances, or let's just say zoning, is, at the December meeting, we had a couple landowners here that were very upset that they were being talked about because they were in violation of zoning. Both of them were in violation also, different points of zoning, but still in violation of zoning. And that never came of anything either, is if we want to treat everyone fairly, there's lots of people in violation of zoning. All over town, I mean, all over. And that was the concern, and that was what, part of my thing tonight, we gotta, if we're gonna talk about that person, we're gonna talk about everybody and bring them all into compliance, which, and at what point do we, we don't have a lot of, we can cite them, they come appear before the judge, and whatever the judge does after that, I mean, we can go from there. Paul?
Well, it seems like you're gonna have to have a discussion whether or not you want zoning.
Well, or the discussion
I
of,
mean, if you're gonna have zoning, you gotta stand by it. If you're not gonna stand by it, then don't have zoning. Otherwise, it's
So you have
just
to
a
draw
mute
the
point.
line somewhere.
Well, that
What's
is the
the
line.
point of-
That is the
Yeah,
line.
what is the point of zoning if we don't stand by what the zoning?
Has that trigger got to order zoning?
no, he just pulled it in, it's just, nothing was done. He pulled it in, and then for first thing, I think he came and talked to Jerry. Jerry told him he can't have it there because it's Class A residential. And he goes, oh, okay, and drives away.
Well, it seems like
Posted thing,
I mean, that's
Towed
kind
away.
of, and that's kind of it, Janelle?
Well, it's a touchy issue on both sides of that you don't want, I mean, if you have a town where, like they have somewhere like Lake Tahoe, where everything is, it might be pretty, but it's down to every little detail, so you have no room for personal freedom or personal expression. I will say personally, as a business owner in a commercial residential area with the Towanda, that I find it really offensive, the trailer that was Alameda's property. I think it is the ugliest eyesore in Hot Springs at this point. It's not that it's not skirted or has the front tongue, whatever, taken off, but the one right next door to it is a perfectly respectable single wide trailer with a little porch and deck. And that trailer there is, I mean, it just seems counterproductive of, we're trying to bring the
I can speak a
town.
little bit on that property because I know the history, that the person who owns the property brought it and had big plans, and then she had a health problem. She can't take care of it for a little while. It will be taken care of as time permits. I know she's called and had some people go over there and stuff, but as she can kind of get her health problem under control the next month or two, that's gonna look, I've talked to them, they're gonna pressure wash it, paint it, put a deck on it, skirt it, make it blend in. It is, right now, it showed up, they had all good intentions to make it look nice immediately, but also immediately with it moving in, she'd come up with a health problem, so it's,
Well, it's just nice
I
to
mean,
know.
they don't mean to, that one anyways, because I visited with the owner, they don't mean to be an eyesore or make it look that way forever. It's gonna be cleaned up and they fit the property and fit everything else, so. Jim?
This might be a good time for me to bring up my airplane.
I like your
Open to discussion. I intend to turn that into an RV trailer. It is attached, not very securely, onto a legally registered trailer. The other airplane is a barbecue trailer. It's also legally registered. So, any questions? I'm here.
Well, how do you pull a wide load down the road? I mean, how the wings, do you go fast enough, the wings lift, or?
Well, actually, the wings fold up.
Oh, okay.
And become invisible.
Catherine?
My public comment is that Jill and David's white dog ran away on New Year's Eve. It's a really, really, really big white dog. So,
Who's?
Jill and David's.
What is it, Great Pyrenees or an Anatolian? It's a guard dog or a sheepdog or both?
There's a picture of it on one of those posters in town, and anyway, they're just not sure where it went.
Did it happen when they heard
The fireworks from New Year's Eve, yes.
Mhm.
Jim?
So I don't have a problem with the airplane?
Not that I,
I don't see any problem.
Great, I'm gonna go have dinner.
thanks for spending the evening with us, Jim.
Yes, it was fun.
Janelle?
I would like to request that what you read, that you had written, that gets posted somewhere, whether it's on the Facebook page or on the front door or the window, because for people to hear that is so positive and so uplifting and encouraging of bringing us all together for whatever brings us together. It was so beautiful. I tried to write it and, I couldn't get it. So I have one other quick thing. It's an announcement for Chinese New Year on Saturday, February 13th. So we'd like permission to do the parade down Main Street at 3 p.m. and then we're having a potluck at 6 p.m. at the Tribal Nutrition Center. And then there's going to be workshops. It's Year of the Monkey, so there's going to be workshops at the rec center for the kids to make monkey costumes and lantern making.
Yeah, no problem, the parade is not a problem because we can just do that, so, but we'll coordinate that later.
One more thing. There were 15 people here. Is it ever possible to have the meeting in a big, I know it has on occasion, to have it in a bigger space?
the bigger spaces like to charge us quite a bit of money. And we can work on that. I know we've had some public meetings, which Bob has pushed me to do, and I never have. Now that he's on the council, I'm gonna have him put them together, and then we'll do some public meetings at City Hall, doing one of the things that we talk about is doing like vision meetings, or what's happened in Hot Springs the last year, what our goals are for the next year. We have talked about doing that, we've never actually went and did it, but now that Bob is sitting next to me here, my right-hand guy, he's gonna put that together for us. Or if you set a time and date, I'll put everything together.